You know, I love Flash Gordon, but sometimes he just needs to learn things the hard way. This time, Flash and Ming stop at one of Ming's secret vaults to repair and refuel after their prison escape. But if there's one thing you can bet on, it's not to trust Ming. We're going to find out how Flash learns that lesson the hard way in Flash Gordon number 6 from Mad Cave Studios. See you in 3. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Flash Gordon number 6. But before we dig in, here's a quick recap. When we last left the greatest hero in the galaxy in Flash Gordon number 5, Flash and Ming wound up fighting side by side in a nest of mercenaries on a lonely planetoid. Ultimately, the unlikely partners were saved when Hans Zarkov's consciousness took over their ship's repair bot and saved the day. Hans is now reborn and reincarnated, if you will, but he now has a metallic robotic body. The reunited trio beat a hasty retreat before Empress Dale, and we still need to find out what that's all about, arrived with her army. That brings us to the current issue. In Flash Gordon number 6, Flash learns again the painful lesson that Ming is not to be trusted. The adventurers land on a small planetoid where Ming has a secret vault hidden for refueling weapons and supplies. The vault was built because Ming anticipated that at some point he might be deposed or might be overthrown by a coup from his military leaders, so he has stashes peppered all over the place to make sure that he's got what he needs to rebuild his empire. Flash rightfully doesn't trust Ming not to spring a trap when they enter the vault, so Zarkov bot, we'll call him that, leads the way. But before the team gets too far, of course, what happens? Ming pushes a secret button in the wall and drops his colleagues through a trapdoor in the floor. Ming then proceeds to enter the inner chambers of his vault and contacts his chief advisor Wolfgang to confirm the reports of his death are, we'll call it, greatly exaggerated. Wolfgang confirms back to Ming that Mongo was indeed destroyed by the Unraveler, and there's nothing left to go home to. Determined to rebuild his empire, Ming orders the vault's drones to load up the ship and prepare to evacuate before the self-destruct he triggers goes off. Back at the trapdoor, we find out that Flash and Zarkov bot didn't fall to their deaths. Instead, they make a soft landing, thanks to Zarkov's robotic body gripping the sides of the shaft and slowing their fall. They begin tunneling through the wall until they find a storage room with a computer terminal, hoping they can make contact with somebody or at least find out what Ming is up to. When Zarkov bot taps into the terminal, he's immediately infected with a virus that turns the robot programming against Flash as an intruder. Flash fights for his life against Zarkov's infected and physically superior robotic frame with little hope or survival. Meanwhile, Ming prepares to leave the planetoid with Darrenek still aboard the ship. He doesn't know what's happened inside, and he's just waiting there for everyone to come out. Flash's fight with Zarkov bot spills out onto the planetoid surface. Before Darrenek can leave the ship and intervene, giving Flash a hand, the self-destruct bomb goes off. The issue ends with Flash truly again lost in space with nothing but a spacesuit on to protect him from the elements when he encounters winged allies who now appear to have become enemies. If you know Flash Gordon lore, you know exactly who we're talking about. That's the issue, so let's talk about impressions, art, positives, what have you. Flash Gordon number 6, I think on the whole is pretty great, but I wish there were just more to it. Jeremy Adams lays the foundation for Ming's return to power, which is a big positive. He wraps the foundation in an action-packed script. There's a lot of action, a lot of spacefaring, pulp sci-fi adventure going on, so that's also great. And he ends the issue on a rock-solid cliffhanger, starting personally one of my favorite types of Flash Gordon characters. However, it goes by so fast that the importance of the developments don't hit as hard as they should, because in effect, Flash is basically just along for the ride. Let's switch gears and talk about the art for a second. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you like magic tricks? I think everybody likes a magic trick. In this case, we get a doozy. Will Conrad and Cliff Richards pull off a really impressive magic trick by pairing two halves of a comic together so seamlessly that you almost can't tell where one artist stops and the other one starts. The sci-fi pulp adventure aspects of the vault, the costumes, and the adventure as a whole are on point, and Richards' style is so complementary to Conrad's that the visual continuity is practically perfect. This comic looks great, and the fact that you have two separate artists just bumping up against each other and you can't tell is a really strong testament to how well they work together. Well, now comes the positives and the negatives. First off, what's great about Flash Gordon number 6? Jeremy Adams leans into one of the best adaptations around with a near-perfect representation of a modernized serial sci-fi adventure from the early days of Flash Gordon's roots in Hollywood. The character work is on point, and the plot development sparks the imagination for what comes next. There are cool ideas here. Lots of seeds are being planted about what's going to happen 1 issue from now, and 3 issues from now, and 5 issues from now. They're all exciting bits of material to kind of get you amped up and anticipating what is going to happen in the future, and that's a good thing. We want more of that. And then we come to the part where I think the issue falls a little bit short. Adam's script reads quick because it focuses a tad too much on action and developments at the expense of the main character. Now that may sound weird, I'll explain it a little bit better. We expect Flash Gordon to be the focal character, so that's good, but the issue puts Ming at the heart of the plot without any resistance of any kind or consequences for his actions. Yes, Flash meets heavy resistance when Zarkov bot goes crazy after he was infected with a virus, but that conflict starts and ends so quickly that it feels like it was just an excuse to get Flash out of the way. It's a good issue, but it's not a great one. It feels a little bit forced. Final thoughts when we think about Flash Gordon number 6. It's a fast-paced, action-packed issue that sets up Ming's return to power and puts Flash in a worse place than where he started. So all the characters are moving in the right direction. That's a positive. Jeremy Adams crafts a fun script that works in all the classic tropes of sci-fi serial adventures, which is the root of what makes Flash Gordon so great. And the art team seamlessly creates an engaging visual experience. That said, Flash is pushed aside with a convenient plot device just to let Ming's plan play out, so the issue lacks a little bit of weight and a significant amount of satisfaction. Therefore, Flash Gordon number 6 earns a 7.8 out of 10. It's a good issue. Like this issue, there's a lot of potential, a lot of good things are being set up, but it feels kind of like exactly that, a setup issue. But what do you think? Is Flash Gordon one of your favorite adaptations that's coming out of Mad Cave and sort of the smaller or mid-sized publishers? Leave a thumbs up if you found this review helpful, and drop a comment below with which classic Flash Gordon characters you want him to see him interact with. Also, remember to click on the link in the description to read the written review, check out the variant covers and preview pages, and buy this comic to help support the channel. Your support, of course, is greatly appreciated, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please click on that subscribe button down below. So thank you very much for joining, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.